Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for being with us for this final item. So this is our regular item of an update from directorates. We've got strategy and resources today. So if you'd like to introduce yourselves and then go through the presentation, if you could bring it in at 15 minutes or so, that would be good, and then we'll have some time for questions. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chair. Yeah, we'll certainly do our best with that brief. Just an introduction, starting with Andrew.
Yeah, hi, Andrew Byram, Chief Digital Information Officer from IDS.
Hi, I'm Craig Simpson. I'm the head of Leeds Building Services. I'm here to present the CEL update.
And Mariana Paxton, Deputy Chief Exec. We've got 21 slides, but I promise we'll go through them really quickly. We've done them in a bit of a hurry because I think our schedule was brought forward a little bit. Some of them will be similar to last year, but obviously we've also tried to provide an updated position. Happy to answer any questions that the three of us can, or if we can't, take them away and provide more information where it might be needed. Just a very quick one in terms of introducing the directorate. Most people probably know it, but it is got those two halves of a range of professional services, kind of legal, finance, etc., often providing a support and advice on things relating to climate agenda. But then also, and Craig in particular will bring this to life, is delivering that, quite a wide range of really critical frontline services, often to our most vulnerable people in the city, very much out and about. So again, a different take on climate from that perspective. So just literally, I'm going to run through, and there's quite a lot of text on these, but I'll just pick out one or two things on each. So as I say, legal, democratic information governance, a lot of this is about providing advice on key issues. So things there, for example, like local plan or Leeds pipes, White Rose Forest, etc. So Polly and the team work, hand in glove with a lot of support services on all the key issues. And in many ways, that's one of our biggest contributions to the agenda overall, rather than any, specific delivery issues. And then legal, and indeed you'll see this probably on each of the slides, as a service, each area then tries to do their bit in terms of reductions, whether that's hybrid working or energy saving or, reducing printing, so that cumulatively all those little parts add up. Democratic services, particularly, as members will know, because they've been on the receiving end of these changes, you do see fewer printed copies of agendas around. We've done that year on year to try and still meet individual needs where they are, really critical, but actually also just to ask people to change their habits. And the hybrid civic vehicle obviously is another very practical one as well, and trying to make sure that the kind of quality checks on reports, where we've got that kind of, how does this contribute to the Best City ambition as was, or the Leeds ambition, that people are really thinking about climate and about net zero, carbon reductions, etc., within that narrative, so that we're capturing things as far as possible. Finance, similarly, as a service, recycling IT equipment, etc., and printing. And then obviously, again, as I say, Polly and a lot of the team work hand in glove with various different finance colleagues on all the major schemes, grants, supports, etc., business cases, and making sure, as reports go through to exec board, etc., or delegated decisions are made, that they are robust. And obviously been leading the core business transformation agenda this year, which does support quite a lot of mobile working, because for the first time those systems are available on handheld devices, and they are available to all officers, so it's reducing quite a lot of need for paper. Changes around billing in council tax and online reporting of changes, again, might sound only trivial, but actually, cumulatively year on year will make a big change. And then audits assurance role. So it's a less direct contribution, but nevertheless, it is an important contribution that is made by internal audit. Likewise on procurement and commercial services, whether that's, squeezing out social value that might, kind of lead to more of a contribution around carbon agenda, or looking at the procurement and sustainability of those contracts that, again, Polly and the team are delivering. I'll hand over to Andrew just briefly to do the next slide or two, I think, in terms of IDS.
Yeah, hi. The key things I wanted to pull out here is the move out of our data centers to cloud. So we've been on that journey for the last couple of years. You'll be aware we've still got 2 data centers, one at Apex down in Holbeck and then one in the Civic Hall. And we're on that migration to move to Azure and to AWS to move those workloads out. We're hopeful of completing the workloads in scope by the end of this year. We have a target to close the Apex data center by 2028. So that's the journey we're on there, and reduce our overall power consumption within those 2 data centers. There's lots of other work going on around obviously supporting hybrid working to ensure people can continue to work from home. So that's a consistent journey we have. We've already talked about printing reductions. If you could just go to the next slide, Mariana. There's some specific points now. We've reduced the estate again. The far more energy efficient of the device we've rolled out. But you can see on there that we've refurbished and reissued 3,000 laptops and desktops and smartphones. Wherever we can, we try and repair devices before we dispose of them. And there's a target on it, well, not a target, there's a metric on there of resulted in 228 metric tons of CO2 emissions saved from reusing devices. And we're rolling out Windows 11 now. Windows 11, the way we've done this, it means we can factory reset devices. So if someone's working from home, they don't necessarily have to come in to bring that device in to have it reset. We can remotely wipe it. So there's more benefits there in terms of reduction of travel. And one final point on there, we're rolling out more modern, energy efficient Wi-Fi access points across the whole estate. So that was called a technological Meraki. We're well on with that, and we're on a journey to complete that at Merion. Thank you.
Sorry. Human resources and kind of business support, business admin. So this is actually quite a lot of people. So they in particular lead around active travel and corporate travel plan, which is has been in development, and encouraging the rollout of digital options. That's particularly our business admin colleagues who are out in services. So they're advocates of trying to encourage those digital solutions. And then Grey Fleet use policy, which we've talked about before when we've been here. So again, less of a direct impact, but nevertheless some contributions there. Won't go through these because I think we've covered them all. Carbon literacy training, though important, that's embedded within the Be Your Best learning. And our Aspiring Leaders programme this year did do a bit of a project on net zero. I don't know how fruitful that was. I'll have to check in with Polly, but the intention was there to apply some capacity to our priorities. And then on the kind of strategy and performance, obviously a lot of this is, again, like more strategic and less direct. But in particular, obviously, this agenda is absolutely at the heart of the Leeds ambitions, and working with the university on research collaboration opportunities where Polly in particular works with Mike Eakins on that, supported the 10-year flooding, and thank goodness we didn't have anything over the Christmas period. And then, some of the kind of climate resilience work and our resilience plans more generally in severe weather, making sure that we're as prepared as possible for severe weather of all different kinds, to make sure that we, can continue got business continuity, and we're doing that in the best possible way. So Craig will just run through the rest of all the civic enterprise slides brief.
Yeah, thank you. So CL, as you'll probably be aware, a lot of frontline services. So starting with catering. I know you mentioned catering just as it is Fleet. Sorry, I've skipped on one too many. I was trying to meet your 15-minute deadline.
You're doing really well. I'm very impressed.
So yeah, again, lots of words on these slides, some interesting stats. So I won't read them all. Obviously, they're in the pack, but some headlines. 26% of the corporate fleet is now electric. We've got 81 electrical vehicle home charging points that have been installed at home. We've got 228 points installed across directorates and 4 charge points at Newmarket House for the RCVs. There's 3 electric refuse vehicles that were received in 2025. They're being used with some significant savings on CO2, so that's great news. 98% of the remaining LCC fleet are Euro 6 compliant, which is really good news. And then there's lots of things in around behaviours. So through the use of telematics and reporting, we've got speed awareness courses in place. We've got a driver induction course as well for new drivers, which sort of the aim of that is to encourage better driving, which will improve efficiency across the fleet. And the last point on there really is just around a local supplier. They've established a local depot for us, which again has significantly reduced the amount of miles that they're doing to service our fleet. So that's really good news as well. If you go next one, catering. Similar vein, we're really trying to work with local suppliers and looking at fresh packaging as well with reusable things. We've got planet-friendly menus, which utilises more plant protein, so that's a reduction in meat. Lots of vegan options. We've got electronic solutions in there as well with primary school establishments, which helps manage the food production, so it reduces that waste and also gives us a saving on the paper-based side of things because that's digital, so that's all positive stuff. Just looking at the last point on there, and then the training. So that was the other key point I wanted to make around the training. So that's now moved virtual. So that's online, whereas previously we had staff travelling to venues for training. That's delivered virtually. So again, a significant reduction in mileage. To the next one. So cleaning, a lot of services there. Cleaning, FM, CPM, and passenger transport. So that's all within Richard's area of responsibility. Similar themes, closely linked to fleet. Again, a large fleet operating within those services. So a lot of the fleet things are sort of hand in hand with these services. Lots of work around building efficiency, working with Polly's team on the capital investment side of things. In terms of flavour menus, again, similar to catering, they work closely with catering colleagues to review the options that they're provided on there in terms of sustainability. Number of efficiency initiatives that have been undertaken, such as big switch off and a push on the recycling of waste. Food recycling has gone really well as well within all FM managed sites. And also referrals for larger projects now. So we're looking at the energy sort of efficiency improvements, again, working with Polly's team to get them into a planned programme to deliver those efficiencies. The next one is Leeds Building Services. So yeah, within Leeds Building Services, we've done a lot internally, and we're now trying to kind of replicate that with the market. So we are really engaging with our suppliers and contractors to try and enhance that offering that they're bringing to the table. So through procurement, we've got geographically diverse locations now, so operatives can get materials closer to site rather than travelling to one or two suppliers as they did previously. The recent discussions with suppliers, things like silicons and adhesives, we're in the process of moving to a foil wrap sleeve rather than the traditional plastic tubes. We just asked them to do a business case actually to show us the plastic saving and also the CO2 saving on that in terms of deliveries. Large number of electric vehicles in the service, and our teams are getting more and more upskilled in terms of the maintenance and refurbishment of air source and ground source and solar and things like that, so we can support the council's objectives. And we also have an area at the depot for reusing materials. So where we've got offcuts or odd units, we've got a storage area so they can be accessed. And the last slide, I think we were asked to put something in about how we deal with extreme heat and flooding. I won't necessarily spend too much time on this, but we just make the adjustments that we need to do. And we've got a series of toolbox talks that we roll out to staff to make sure they're briefed on any extreme conditions.
Thanks, Craig. Just in terms of looking ahead, I think we just wanted to make, kind of things that were on our mind in terms of commitments going forward. So, making sure things are embedded within our strategy and within any kind of partnerships that we've got, the way that we fund things, the way that we communicate things, that resilience and net zero and carbon reductions are absolutely at the heart of that. Further work with our infrastructure, as Andrew's already outlined, and Craig, wherever we've got that physical infrastructure, then try and have that as efficient as possible. Training, fleet purchase and continuing to change that, and meals. So just that commitment really on an ongoing basis to do what we can within the directorate, be that on the kind of advisory side or the delivery side. So just like we said last year, thank you very much for inviting us. It is actually a good discipline for us to go through and just capture what it is that we're doing, because you might kind of think, well, actually we're not doing that much, and then you get to a set of slides like this and think, well, actually it is embedded. People do take this seriously and are making changes according to how we can make improvements, which I'm grateful for in terms of managers having picked this responsibility up and embedding it within their services. Always more that we can do, and obviously we'll continue to do that and keep it within our kind of conversations and work programs. I'm very happy to either try and answer questions if the right people are here. If not, we'll take them away, or happily take further suggestions. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you all three of you for the presentations. Who would like to start with questions? Councillor Bromley.
Thank you, firstly. And yes, it's a huge amount, but I didn't really doubt that. I think the more that you start to look into things, you can see that there are many things and there's movement happening, mainly because there's a feel of like we need to, but the awareness, I've noticed that is everywhere, and it doesn't just sit just on this board, which is good. One of the main things that I feel that is one of the trickiest parts that is brought up in this room, maybe not like said very clearly, but it's just planning. Planning seems to be one of the biggest things that will need to be looked at in terms of climate and environmental structures, and we're not sort of directly linked on SEAC across to planning, or not that I'm aware of. And I also am aware that it's probably one of the harder parts of our council to be really sort of grappling with. So just really to say that's what my hope is, that there's like sort of more movement around that area, and how we might as a council be able to make sure that we're moving as quickly as we need to be in the constraints of how constraining planning is. Thank you.
Councillor Brock, I'm going to come in because Councillor Dye is currently choking. So planning sits within City Dev rather than strategy and resources. So and we do have planning. I think we have had them here even in this year's cycle. I have to go back and double check, but if we haven't, we normally have them once a year. So hopefully there'll be an opportunity to ask that.
I would certainly say, though, strategically, it is like right at the heart of the local plan. And, certainly when I hear Martin Elliott talking about our planning policy and stuff, it feels like it's really well embedded, but it maybe hasn't filtered through to every part yet. But that would be my observation strategically. But as Polly said, maybe another update.
Thank you. Any more questions from anybody? So I would like to ask some, if I can. I don't know how far I'll get before I collapse in a fit of coughing, but we shall see. So the first one was about 26% EVs. I thought the figure was more than that. Sure, I read that somewhere, but maybe you or Polly can come in on that one. Rachel wrote it down somewhere. So whilst people are looking for that one, oh, you got an answer? Go on then.
Thank you, Toby. It's 28% of the whole fleet, but 45% of the van fleet, which might be the figure that you're remembering. So,
thank you. Yes, that is the figure I'm for. So, scratch that one. So, reducing waste, food waste from schools is something that we have considered before in this committee, and we've had quite a long discussion about that. So it's good to hear that work's being done on that, and I'm just interested in where does that food waste go? What happens to it?
I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to answer that one right here, right now, but I can certainly come back to you with an update. I'll speak to Mandy and get you a response on that one, if that's okay.
Yes, please. That would be good because we have had questions on that in the past. So yeah, that would be great. Thank you. So my next one is council tax bills. 20% of council tax bills were electronic. Is that correct? Is that yeah. So I'm just interested in how can we get that figure up, because it's good that it's 20%, but it would be great if it was more.
Yeah, I think the team. Sorry, we would like to get it up more as well, because obviously from a cost efficiency point of view, but I think it's quite complex in terms of contact details for people and also public preference. So again, I haven't got the detail in terms of where we're at, where we want to be, etc. But I can, kind of check out what our targets are, if you like, what our rollout plan is, and how quickly we might try and get to any increased position.
Thank you. I'm getting people who wanting to come in now. So if I write your names down, or do you want to come in on that specific thing? Go on then.
I'm just curious, because obviously I get my council tax through the post, but I get my electoral roll reminder electronically. If there was a box on there to tick to say, would you like your council tax delivered electronically, I'd tick it. I'd have it that way. I'd prefer it that way. But surely that's a quick win.
Often when you kind of think you've got a really common sense idea like that, there's a data governance issue that gets in the way. But I don't know whether that's a specific one that we've considered, but I will take away and have a look. But that often the reason you can't, kind of, well, I've got your information from that purpose. Can I, either use it or check with you that I can use it for a different purpose? It often isn't quite as simple as you would imagine it would be from a public perspective. But let me check between those two data sources specifically to see whether we can do anything.
So it would appear to be tied up because your electoral roll defines you as being at that property, and it's just an option to opt in. It's not saying we know that you're the bill payer or anything. It's not sort of cross-contaminating data, if you like. It's just saying, if you are a council taxpayer, would you like it? Rather than saying you're a council taxpayer, this is an option. So it's might be how you phrase it. I don't know.
There is a whole program on this kind of stuff, but I'll let me check to see whether that's something that's in it.
Yeah, I would be very keen for you to explore that as well, because I've recently had one from a bank saying if you log on in the next month, we will automatically assume you no longer want to receive any paper or something. So whether that's legally possible, I do appreciate the difficulties, but yeah, interesting. Okay, so Councillor Rontree wanted to come in. Did you want to come in on one of in fact just come in anyway?
Oh, thank you. Yes, it was particularly on the council tax bills, and I think it's possible that there's a strong sense of personal preference is driving this one. Because I've spoken to sort of a few people anecdotally, and they're keen on having a sort of physical council tax bill because it's a once a year thing, as opposed to getting an electricity bill every month, which you don't want in paper. And it's increasingly difficult to get something that will prove your address if you need to do that for another purpose, and people may be attached to it for that reason. So that may be a hard one to drive down, I think, in that sense.
Yeah, and I know from a member perspective, we don't want to, be the kind of the easy council as there was, a few years ago, where the only way you can transact is electronically. We still want to be able to meet the needs of all of our customers. So yeah, it's a tricky one though in terms of personal preference versus, cost drivers and other drivers. But yeah, I'll provide an update to that on that one.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come in before I continue with mine? Nope. Okay, so my next one is about the compliance with carbon reduction plans that you mentioned for any contracts that are over, was it 5 million? How do you monitor that to ensure that it's being adhered to?
at risk of being repetitive, I don't know the detail of exactly how we monitor it, and without having brought a whole range of colleagues from right the way across the directorate, it would be difficult to answer all these questions, and I didn't think that was a great use of everybody's time. So let me give you a written answer on how we do that, but it will be through our contract management arrangements in broad terms, whether that's to do with money, social value, social value, or something of this nature. Most all our big contracts are on a contract management plan.
Sorry, I didn't turn my microphone off then. Thank you. Yeah, it would be really good to have a written response on that, because that's something that we have asked before. And I know I've been on webinars, kind of national webinars, where there are various local authorities who've said this is what we do, and they've been questioned on monitoring to say, well, that's great, but is everybody compliant? So that would be really good if you could. Thank you. Right, my next one was carbon literacy training. So I know that's something that we've talked about here at the committee as well. I just wondered what form that takes, and is there an opportunity for extending it, because we just had the Leeds Climate Commission in on a previous item who have done a big piece of work on that, and I think it'd be something that perhaps we could link up with.
Be happy to explore and see whether we can link up, and as to what how that's best delivered across, given our very, very, very wide workforce and, diverse range of services, to make sure it's appropriate in all circumstances.
Brilliant, thank you.
I'll get the connection from Polly.
That'd be super, thank you. So my next one's about grey fleet. So that's something that we discussed. It was probably around about this time last year when Strategy Resources came to us. So how are you using data on that? Sorry, that's me. I'm not.
Probably not well enough, in truth. Whilst we've got this, we have said there the policy is under review, and I don't know that we actively monitor it as well as we should do. I would say it is around prioritisation for our limited HR capacity. Just being really honest. Okay,
thank you. I mean, I think that'd be something worth exploring, because the impact must be huge, but I do hugely understand the demands of resources. Okay, I think I might be there. Yes, I think that's it. That's all mine done. So anybody else got any last minute questions, comments? Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, just to come back to the food waste from schools. So I've just had a quick message with a colleague in catering. So I can get you more information on some of this if you wish. But in terms of the catering team, we'll separate food waste in kitchens, but it's managed by the schools themselves through their own waste arrangements. So we do separate out to help with that recycling. Some schools do composting as well, so we'll segregate further to help them with that composting. So that's how the waste is managed. But they have also made the point again that the electronic solution is really helping to reduce the waste. So whereas before there might have been an amount, I have asked if there's any sort of way we can track or measure that at the minute. I haven't got a response on that one, but yeah, that's kind of just to answer your point about how that's managed.
Thank you. I would definitely be interested in hearing more about the electronic solution, because it's something that schools have to address as part of their climate action plan. So it could be a win-win for all of us, couldn't it? So if you are able to share anything else about exactly what that is and how it works in practice on in a school's daily life, that would be really helpful.
Just an observation, Chair, for the next time we come, maybe if we can share the presentation in advance, and if there are, particular aspects that people are interested in, we can bring relevant colleagues. we can go a deeper dive into some areas that are more interesting, if you like, or that the committee are more interested in, more bothered about, and have a richer discussion, whilst also providing a broader update, if that would work for the committee.
Well, funny you mentioned that. That would more than work, because at our last meeting, that was one of the things that people raised for the next meeting cycle. So, yeah, absolutely. We're all on the same page on that one, and we will do that for next time you visit. So thank you very much. Okay, anybody else? I can see that Councillor Downs is dying to... Right, so let me just let you know that our next meeting is the 18th of February at 2 o'clock. The meeting is closed. Don't miss your bus. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for attending.